homie Diddy.
DJ Felly Fell. Testing 1, 2, 3.
Testing 1, 2, 3. Check this out. Listen.
As promised, this is Chatty, Cathy's Corner, coming to you to teach you one of the other parts, finding our silver lining, is learning how to make the perfect chocolate chip cookie. Now, it's not the recipe, it's how you do it. That's the magic. Look what we're using. We're using the original Nestle Toll House chocolate chip cookie recipe. No magic there, it's how you do it. And I've been making cookies for years, but I found out the magic from my friend Nancy, who owns a catering business and makes the most fabulous cookies in the world. So this is it. Okay, the big thing is the butter. What she told me is you don't want to get the butter too warm. So this is kind of cold butter. It's pretty hard still. And the other thing she told me is that when you're mixing it, because what you want is you want the butter to stay in kind of little chunks. You don't want it all really smoothed out, because when it bakes, the butter melts while it's baking. And that's what keeps them fluffy and big. But mine are big and a little bit of brown on the outside and so chewy on the inside. So big thing, use cold butter. Don't mix it too much. Like she said, when you think you're done mixing, you're done mixing. Don't mix it further until it's too mixed. And then the other thing is we're gonna be putting them in the dough in the fridge before we cook them. That's the key part, because you keep the butter really cold before it goes in the oven. And my last thing, which you'll learn again later, I'll reiterate, never over bake your baked goods. You always want them a little moist and chewy, and that's what makes them fabulous. Okay, so we got our 2 sticks of butter, okay? And in a minute, I'm gonna have my strong son do some of this mixing because I have a bad wrist. Don't y'all feel sorry for me? And so it hurts, but I'm gonna let him do it. Okay, so we have our butter. Okay, and before that, I took the flour and the baking powder and the salt, and I put it all in a separate bowl, and you just mix it all together. And I'm sure there's people that are cringing, all the home ec teachers out there that really know how to cook, but this is good enough and they're fabulous, okay? Okay, so I'm going to take 1 second break. I'm gonna have my son start to mash the butter with the salt, with the sugar and the brown sugar together. So that's the first thing. And that's called creaming the butter and the sugar. So he's gonna do that, and then we'll be back. My son was doing this for me, and he thought this was fine. He's like, that's fine. And he said, why aren't we using a mixer? And the whole thing is that you don't want to whip the butter up. You want to keep it like not too mixed in. That's why we do it by hand. Okay, so and then what you do, it's not easy, but it's worth it. So you just kind of push the butter into the sugar, and you start picking up all the sugar against the side of the bowl. And you keep doing that because you want all the butter incorporated into the sugar. So keep pushing it in here. I'm gonna take a break and have him do a little more work. Okay, now we're adding our teaspoon of vanilla. Put that in. And I took 2 eggs and I kind of just mixed them up in the bowl here just a little. I don't know why I was told you should do that. I'm not sure why. And yes, we do keep our Christmas bowls out all year because we love Christmas. Ta-da, the base of the dough is done. This is what it looks like. I might want to mix a little more, but no, don't mix it anymore. And now I'm going to put it in the refrigerator, and I'm going to put it in for over an hour, and then wait till you see what we do with the base dough. It's amazing, okay? And I want you to thank me for putting up with all the grief I've been getting when we've been off camera. Rats. I did this for you, okay? I'm amazing. Okay, love you. We're almost there, everybody. Okay, so we've left this in the fridge for like over an hour, but I'm even just gonna be even better about it. We did mix-ins, and I have a Corona problem. My Corona problem is usually I'd have Oreos in the pantry, because what I do is I have a party usually, and I give everybody a bowl of the base dough, and then I would have peanut butter cups, M&Ms, Oreos, different nuts, cereals, sprinkles, and everybody could put what they wanted in and make their cookie. And then I'm gonna put this tray of cookies into the fridge for another half hour. or into the freezer if I can fit it. And I'm gonna put it in the freezer. And then after a half hour, I'm gonna put it in the oven at 375. The directions say 375 for 9 to 11 minutes. But what that means is do it for 7 minutes and then we're gonna check them. You have to underbake your cookies. You can always add more time, but you can't take it away. Okay, so these are just with chocolate chip. I did Ruffles potato chips and pistachios. But it's a really fun party. You could have everybody do a mix-in with a bowl. It's a really great party idea. Okay, so when they're all baked, I'm gonna show them to you, but stay tuned and enjoy your cookies. Okay, everybody, while I was making the ultimate chocolate chip perfect cookie, my son harassed me and said it was harder than his ultimate chocolate chip cookie. So I'm gonna show you how to make that one too. You're gonna make both of them and everybody can vote on which is the better one. Okay, so here's the other recipe. I guess we can post it or put a picture of it on. Okay, so this one, the really good things about this is we had a kid on Steve's baseball team, couldn't eat eggs, being the nice mother that I was. I came up with this recipe. I took the egg out so he could eat it. And then my kids could eat the cookie dough batter without feeling guilty. But now I found out you're not supposed to eat flour. They've been putting cautions out. Flour is raw. Please cook fully before eating. So you're taking a risk on the cookie dough again. So disclaimer there. Okay, so the reason my son likes this recipe better is because you use a mixer and not your hands. Okay, so I'm just gonna show you quick. These are all the ingredients. Butter Crisco. This is sometimes hard to find, and if you can get it in the sticks, you can get it in a tub. The sticks are easier. So this is the ingredient that's hard to find. Okay, so these are all the ingredients. Put in the Crisco. You put in sugar. We had a bag of sugar, but if you're using box sugar, it's 1 box. For a double batch, it's 1 box of brown sugar. And then I'm gonna cream that. Okay, before I go on, this whole thing with the coronavirus, we're looking for the silver linings, and one of them is same outfit as yesterday. You don't have to change clothes every day. You can keep the same outfit 2 days in a row. Nobody's gonna know, I guess, unless you have a vlog going on. Okay, so that's the silver lining there. I said you had to mix the flour and the baking soda and everything together first. Well, I kind of cheat, and my home ec teacher, who was Mrs. Smith, she was a nice lady, but did not let us eat the dough in 6th grade, so I didn't really like that. I just kind of throw it in there, and then I figure I need 1 3/4 cups of flour, so I put a cup of the flour. I put my teaspoon of salt, and again, I'm not into perfect measuring, which would make her cringe. Close enough. And 3/4 of a teaspoon, we'll do it this way, of baking soda. And there's a difference between baking soda and baking powder. One like rises twice, one rises once. Not sure really which one, but there's a difference. Okay, so now I'm gonna turn the mixer on again. And I don't know if you guys watch the middle, but this is my heck mixer because the little thing broke and I can't shut it off. So I have to unplug it and plug it in. So it's my my heck family mixer from the middle. So I did my first part of my flour. I'm getting my other flour in, the salt and everything's in there. I'm gonna plug it in again. Whoa, whoa, that was a little crazy, huh? But fun. And the thing is, if the consistency, if it's not loose enough, you can add a little more milk. No eggs though. Okay, I think this is looking good. You can stop the video for a second, we'll look at this. Our chocolate chips, and it gets a little rough here. By the way, I love my KitchenAid. If you can afford one, if you bake a lot, it is so awesome. Except when you break it, it's really expensive to fix it. Almost costs as much as getting a new one. So that's why I've let this go on for so long, but I love this thing. Okay, wow. Okay, it's ready. This is what the dough looks like. And my son tasted it already. Let me see. Oh, it's so good. I know I'm not supposed to be eating raw flour. Whoever heard of that? Oh my gosh, so good. You know what? We're gonna call this the Lazy Man's Perfect Chocolate Chip Cookie Dough because, man, it was a lot easier than yesterday's. Okay, so this thing's also cool. Parchment paper sheets. You don't have to buy them in the roll. You can buy them, if you want to talk about the lazy cookie people, buy them where they're already cut and you just lay them out. Makes cleanup a snap. And then I like taking my little scooper and you just scoop them down, and we're gonna cook them at 375. And what's the big thing we learned about all of our baking? Never overcook it. You want it to feel a little raw, and then it dries up a little, and then it's just yummy. So this says to cook at 375 for 11 to 13 minutes. So I'm gonna start with 7, and then we can go up by minute until we see what we like. Okay, see you soon. Oh my God, look at how great they look. So now this is perfect. So they're a little brown on top, but they're big lumps. So you know they're still raw in the middle. So this is a good time to pull them out and just give it a little while before you eat them, but they are gonna be like unbelievable. Give them a couple minutes. Voila. And come back to me, Steve, because before I leave for the night, I do wanna give a couple shout outs. Number 1, to my man, Tommy B. He gave me a good reminder last night. We also have to thank all the first responders and all the prison guards that are leaving their families to keep us safe. So thank you guys. Maybe I should make a batch of cookies for them, huh? This might be a good idea. We should all make cookies for these people. And secondly, to my girl Danielle, who has just totally been my cheerleader. She actually had coronavirus, but we think she's coming out of her contagion ward tomorrow. So I love you, Danielle, and thank you for always being my cheerleader. Have a good night, everybody. Enjoy. And this weekend, I'm going to give some game ideas to get you through the weekend. Yay, yay, yay.